Hey everybody, I'm William.
I'm Kina.
And we are the Nerdyweds.
Today we are showing a clip from the YouTube channel Dreadpool where he does a segment called Breaking Bread with Dread, and we were lucky enough to be a part of that segment where he interviewed us.
Yeah, we had a wonderful time with Dreadpool. Make sure you go check out his channel and watch the full video. The link is in the comments below. Down on the doobly-doo.
Welcome to Breaking Bread with Dread. This is the first video for this year. Really appreciate you guys coming out and sticking with me. I've got the Nerdyweds here with me. I said it right this time, I don't want to hear it. So we are at, what's this called again? Hot Pot?
This is Mr. Hot Pot.
Mr. Hot Pot. Okay, so my guest here is William and Kina. And you guys specialize in board games.
Specialize in board games,
but you do
nerdy pursuits.
That's right, you do more than that. So let's start with the first things first. How did you get into being like a nerd? You know,
I was born like this.
Okay.
No, I've just been always into nerdy things like video games,
RPGs.
fantasy, RPGs, movies. As a teenager, I played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. Watched Star Wars my entire life. Just been really into that geek culture. Also, computers and technology has been a big thing with me growing up.
Okay. And even though I should have done ladies first, I went with him. Not calling you a lady. But so Kina, how did you secretly hide it, or were you out there also just figuring it out as we grew up?
We just figuring it out as we grew up. I'm an introvert, always been an introvert, and I spent a lot of time alone just reading, watching movies, things like that. And when we got together, there was a point in time that he went to Alaska, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that was something he always wanted to do. So it inspired me to think of something that I've always wanted to do and kind of pursue that. And strangely enough, like I said, being into movies, I really like zombie movies. So I said, you know what? I want to do a zombie walk. So I researched it and saw that in Orlando, they had a zombie walk around October. And it was attached to a convention. So that's when I first learned about conventions, and that not only do they have Comic-Cons and pop culture, but they have for any interest that you're in, to include horror. So that started our love for conventions and going to conventions. So it opened a whole new, I'm going to sound like Disney. It opened a whole new world for us.
So let's backtrack a little bit. Before you two, okay, well, first of all, I know you guys don't like hearing it, and most don't, but thank you for your service, for both of you, because you both are veterans. So, but how did you two meet, and when you met, did you let each other know you were nerds? You know what I'm saying?
I don't think there was any way for me to hide how nerdy I was.
Right.
I was a nerd. I still am a nerd. We met because we were both in the same platoon in the Army.
Okay.
So I got there 3 weeks before she did. She showed up and we became friends, hung out together a lot. Eventually, I got her to start dating me. And then we got married, and it's been 25 years later. Here we are.
So you were asking about, did we let each other know we were nerds? I think our interests kind of showed that what we were into. Yeah, because we would hang out, and one of the things we liked to do, we would go to a bookstore that sold RPGs, and you could play. So he would be playing the RPGs, and I would spend all of my time grabbing books and just reading while he was playing.
Okay.
And that's how we hung out.
I want you guys to watch their faces. How do you not know who Bubba Hotep is?
I know who it is.
Now. Now. I mean, come on, that's a classic. How do you not know?
I don't know. With our friend group, I really don't know how we went by without knowing about that one. But it just wasn't on my radar. I'm ashamed.
You should be.
But what do you consider a classic movie? Because I'm still trying to figure out, after looking at that list,
It's a cult classic, not a classic.
and I think that's where we kept getting tricked up.
It's more of a cult classic than an actual classic. Classic horror, I think of Universal Monsters. Those are the base classics. And then everything else kind of feeds off of that and kind of goes from there.
So what do you consider a cult?
A cult classic?
No, just cult. Like if someone says it's a cult movie, what would you consider a cult movie? How would you define it?
That would be the movie that's kind of underground for the normies, that most people in this part of the culture would understand. They would know it even by name, if not even know anything about it. But that's, everybody that knows anything about it is tried and true. They know everything, most people know everything about it, or at least have seen it and said, yes, I love this, and they would go see it again. Whether or not they have, I'm not going to sit there and say that this is how it should be. I think it's a broad spectrum when it comes to loving a movie and how much you participate in watching the movie or an item. So you can still enjoy the lore for a lot of these games, movies, books, and not have to read everything about it, to be 100% involved in that part of it, to be part of the cult per se.
Okay. And I think that's where we were getting tripped up with
That's
our
reasonable,
poster.
but to add to that is a way for a more mainstream or commercially successful movie to join cult would be a movie that's transcended its medium for the audience. Something that's created such a buzz that it had no choice to succeed, such as Star Trek. Star Trek was an unsuccessful TV series from the 60s, but because of its cult status, later became commercially successful. It was a canceled TV show that had 3 seasons.
Yeah,
Firefly, cult, because it transcended its medium.
Okay.
Star Wars
But that
is
doesn't
cult.
mean it's always going to be successful.
I don't think
No, I'm
success
saying
means
a successful movie can become cult,
Oh, okay.
or can become the other way around. It can become commercial success, but still be cult. I reevaluate how I want to.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit more on the harder detail to explain.
I'm going to get someone meet real quick. You guys talk amongst yourselves.
So now that he's gone, give us the dirt.
Well, there's this one time at band camp. No, I'm kidding.
One camp, a boot camp.
So that we got on this topic because we did that poster where we were scratching off the 100 cult movies, and when we did it, I think both of us we kept conflating cult and classic in our heads. So when we're looking at these movies, we're like, that's not a classic. But the poster never said that it was. It said it was a cult. And I don't think either of us have like a clear-cut definition in our heads what a cult movie is.
It's typically, when it comes to a cult classic, it's typically an underground movie that still has an audience, but has never been mainstream. That's why Star Trek may have been cults, but it's so mainstream it's not cult. It's just like Army of Darkness. You're talking about Evil Dead 2, Evil Dead. Those 3 movies in that order, great. Well, 2 in Army or flip-flopping, depending on how you look at it. But they've transcended the cult status into more of a mainstream now.
You think so? Outside of people who are into horror?
I think so, yeah.
You do?
Because you've got 2 movies now that are after. You've got the TV show You got the video games, so it had cult status and is transcended from that. So it's still an inside thing with the fans that are super fans. But that doesn't mean that it's a cult status. I think it's transcended that. So everybody knows what this is my boomstick.
Yeah.
You know, everybody knows Shop Smart, Shop S Smart. Oh, that's a lot.
Well, it is a lot.
That's not only for you.
Oh, okay.
So I think we're going to come up with our own list of 100. But the first challenge to that, we have to decide and agree on what is a cult movie. And we've decided we're going to say cult classic because our poster that we have now just says cult.
Yeah. Sorry about the noise, but they are getting busy. This is how good the food is here. And this is Mr. Hot Pot.
This is Mr. Hot Pot.
Hot Pot. All right, Mr. Hot Pot. Check us out. Come here. It's Spring Hill, Florida.
Yep.
So definitely check it out. We sat in the first booth. It's right up front. I'm having a good time. I'm going to keep eating. So love y'all. See you later.